We turn to government entities for serious solutions to serious problems. But I've got to be honest with you. The solution that USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins put forth yesterday to use people on Medicaid to pick crops in American fields is one of the most absurd things I've ever heard. Hey guys, my name's Will. This is the Back 40, and let's talk about it. Yesterday, Brooke Rollins came in front of the American people, along with the Attorney General and the Secretary of Defense, and held a press conference that was full of generalities, but very low on substance. Toward the end of the press conference, she was asked the question, listen, President Trump made a promise back near July 4th that he was going to stop doing roundups of migrant workers that were coming here to work on American farms and ranches. Does he intend to keep that promise? And the Secretary of Agriculture made it very clear that the president doesn't intend to keep that promise, that these roundups were going to continue to occur. When the reporter brought up the issue that this was leading to major labor shortages in American agriculture, the secretary said, don't worry, we're going to take people on Medicare and put them to work in our fields. Let me say that again. We're going to take people on Medicaid, and put them to work in the fields. This is a solution that's as crazy as it sounds. Let me explain why. The first thing I'm going to tell you, and I made this point back when she was nominated, you can tell that Brooke Rollins only grew up on a farm and that she's been separated from agriculture ever since then. Listen, I have worked in farming almost my entire life, especially for the last 15 years. And I can tell you that farm work is hard work. What are the statistics on Medicaid? First of all, 67% of people on Medicaid already work. They're not going to be going to work in the fields, as the secretary says. 10% of the people on Medicaid are taking care of family members who are fighting cancer or who are so severely disabled themselves that their family members on Medicaid have had to take care of them on a full-time basis. So if we take them away from the people they're caring for to put them to work in the fields, that's going to mean we're going to have to subsidize their families that are left at home that need that full-time care. There's another 10% of people on Medicaid who are so severely disabled themselves that they're not allowed to work. You may not know this, but 100% disability is the only thing that takes you out of this work requirement, which, by the way, isn't going to be put in place possibly until after the next election. You heard it right. All the good stuff happens now. All the bad stuff happens after the next election. You could be somebody that is paralyzed in a wheelchair, and if you've got some usage of your body, you're not going to be considered 100% disabled. So what are we going to do? Are we going to take people with severe disabilities and put them in the fields to pick crops? It's just not going to happen. It's absurd. As a matter of fact, only 1 out of 10 people who are on Medicaid right now have the ability to work but don't work. And some of them for a whole host of reasons that aren't considered disabilities, etc. So now I'm going to show you the numerics behind where the crops in this country are located that need to be picked and where the people are who are on Medicaid. I want you to pay close attention to that big brown area out in California. I also want you to pay attention to the areas in green. These are the 2 primary locations where we actually process fruits and vegetables in this country. Now, if California wasn't brown because of all of the tree nut production in the state, it would also be green because of all of the produce that's grown there. So if you look primarily at these locations where we can put physical bodies in the field to help produce the produce that we need in this country, it's primarily located in the far east of the country and the far west of the country, with some exceptions in Louisiana. But take a look at where the number of Medicaid recipients are. Those very dark blue and the next stage up blue locations are where Medicaid users are in this country. It's all over the country, primarily in the Midwest and the Southeast. Do you see the problem with this scenario? The crops that need to be picked are primarily on the far East Coast and the far West Coast, but the people that would pick those crops are located throughout the country. So I hope I don't even have to explain it, that you can see the absurdity in this. Do you realize the amount of transportation that would have to be created in order to get people from the Midwestern part of the country out to the areas where they would be needed in order to do the majority of the work that's needed in the agricultural industry? Now, there are exceptions across the country. Both Nebraska, Wisconsin, Minnesota, they've got large dairy industries there where some people could be put to work. But this would require a massive transference of individuals from the Midwest to the coastal areas where we have these primary agriculture needs for folks working out in the fields to process the food that we need to feed the country and the world. The other thing I want to remind you of is I've been working in agriculture for a long time. Spent the first part of my life, moved away, held corporate jobs, came back and got involved in farming again. I can tell you there is no way in hell I could go out into a field in California and throw watermelon in 110-degree heat for 6 to 8 hours a day. It just isn't going to happen. I was a farm kid. I work in agriculture now. There's nobody my age or older that could do that. I'm just going to be frank with you. Nobody who's Americanized and used to our lifestyle that could do that right now. It's a skilled craftsmanship. Now, we look down on migrant workers in this country. A lot of people do because they don't think that that's a skilled craft, but it is. The ability to go out into hot areas and work in the fields and process produce. I would encourage all of you, go pull up some YouTube videos of people out processing broccoli in the field, picking watermelons in the field. There is a skilled craftsmanship that goes along with that to be able to do it effectively and to be able to do it quickly that very few Americans understand or would be able to learn. This whole idea is an absolute absurdity. We've got to get serious. And I'm talking to Democrats, Republicans, and independents. This may sound good on television in a soundbite. We're going to take people that are receiving Medicaid because we're pretending they're all lazy and they aren't paying for it, which is a lie. And we're going to put them to work in the fields processing the produce that this country and the world need to survive. It's not workable. It's not doable. It's an absurdity. Listen, those of you that live in rural America like me, you already know this. We shouldn't even be arguing about this. You and I see this every day. We know the likelihood of somebody who's partially disabled being taken out of a large city and put out in a field to process produce. It's an absurdity that we all understand without even thinking about it, and this administration has to do better. If you want to join us to help force this administration and our government to do better when it comes to ag policy and rural policy, then join us at the Back 40. Just go to theback40official, all spelled out.com, theback40official.com, and sign up today for our newsletter. You'll also see the schedules of where we're speaking around the country and what we're doing to get out there and do live events to grow the understanding of what's happening in rural America around the country. Look forward to seeing you guys. Have a great day.